Hello, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Bits and Banter, where we are gathered to discuss the C word. When I say C, don't be afraid. It's not cricket. It's certainly not cricket. We are here to discuss once again the real issue that is dominating the headlines in India, COVID. And we are specifically here to discuss an issue which has practically gone under the radar. Raj, good morning. I'm not going to add any more to what I said. I'm leaving the floor to you. It's all over to you, Raj.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you. So when Bala said that it is not cricket, I think what is happening in the world of COVID treatment and all, something has happened. That is also not cricket.
In a
By
manner
which,
of speaking, metaphorically
yes,
speaking.
metaphorically speaking, because they say something when something is not we don't go by the rules. That's not cricket. So here definitely something is not going by the rules. So what am I talking about? For starters, there has been this a lot of commentary about the sort of pace of vaccination. A lot has been talked about that. Less than 1/10 of I think India has been vaccinated till now. There is a lot which is supposed to be underwhelming. Politicians are talking, people are fighting, so we are not going there. However, there is something else happening behind that underwhelming performance, which could raise some eyebrows. And in some people, it could raise a few hackles also. By which I mean, people would be very upset when
Raj,
they get.
you are making it very intriguing. Go ahead.
I know. I mean, on purpose, I'm doing that. The mystery of the COVID vaccine. No. So what is happening? There was this. I mean, I was looking at social media handles. I suddenly found people talking about some of them getting a unique health ID on their COVID vaccine certification. The first vaccine, UHID. So it is called UHID, and there was a unique number there. So I immediately went and checked my vaccine certificate, and I didn't find that there. So I was intrigued. Then I sort of went deeper and I started asking my friends, "Did you observe?" Many of them hadn't observed. Many of them hadn't got it also. Then I was lucky. One of the persons I contacted in my home state of Kerala, the person said, "You know what? I got it." The person is younger. I mean, like, yeah, many people are younger, so it's fine. Like Bala always says. So that person is around 40. He got a UHID, but his parents were 75 and beyond. They didn't get a UHID. So that was also intriguing, which meant there is some sort of a method to the madness. Ironically or incidentally, all of them had gone to the same center to get their COVID vaccine.
Okay, that's interesting.
So this is what sort of raised my hackles. I said, what is happening here? I mean, it didn't raise my hackles, it sort of raised my antenna.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're still a journalist.
Yeah, 20 years down the line, you still feel you have done with it, but then some of these things do crop up. So I was a little surprised. So I did some
basic
research. So my first question was, we are already covered by a lot of IDs. So for example, if somebody wants to look me up, I have a voter ID, I have an Aadhaar card, I have a PAN card. So pretty much my entire life is out there in the world. So before that, so one of the things which I think, Bala, you also mentioned, or you have also sort of kept track of, was what is this unique UHID? Where did this come from?
Yeah, that's a very basic question to start off, because UHID is supposedly part of this digital health mission that Prime Minister announced during his speech, the Independence Day speech. Of course, as you before we went on, you joked, Raj, because this they probably went under the radar because nobody listens to Prime Minister's speeches anymore, because the speeches that Prime Ministers usually make from the ramparts. By the way, I'm always intrigued by this word ramparts, because no other time this word is actually used. Only time it is used is during the Independence Day, because Prime Minister speaks from the ramparts of the Red Fort. Yeah. Anyway, jokes apart, this digital health mission is something. It's where the government practically tries to digitalize our health records with our, on principle, with our consent, where our health records, our whatever health condition that we suffer from, that is being, I mean, it is put in a cloud. So wherever we need to take, I mean, need a treatment or anything, that is available on tap. So on a press of a button, we can get that. This is the larger idea behind it. As you would know, I'm putting it to a very basic level. But there are certainly a lot of issues behind it. Perhaps you can talk about that.
Yeah. So one of the things I'll add to what Bala said was, I mean, before that, let me just say, I mean, initially as a kid, when I used to listen to the ramparts of the Red Fort, I used to hear Rampals of the Red Fort.
Oh, good.
Rampal is a very common name in north of India.
North of India, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, hey, what is this? Who's Rampal? Why is he standing there every year? So anyway, so, so that apart, so now, in addition to what you said, Bala, the National Digital Health Mission had a, I mean, when Modi announced it on August 15th last year, I mean, a lot of it came in the papers, but then people probably weren't really looking at that. So the idea was to actually say that, okay, this is India's public funded health program, which will be connected to India's public funded health program called Ayushman Bharat.
Ayushman.
Yeah. And the idea was to sort of reach 50 crore people, and then eventually another 50, and then whatever it is. I mean, the entire population. Yeah, entire population. That was it. Now, is this something unique? Or is it something that I need to complain about? I don't think so, because I mean, if you look at every country in the, I mean, Western countries at least, you go to the UK, you have the NHS, where your data is available. You go to the US, you have the data available there. In the US, it is important because it is also connected to your medical insurance, which is a big business. So all of that is happening across the world. So the point is that that is not the challenge here. And digital commons is another thing which I want to just bring in. Digital commons is where digital data or digital data of citizens can be used to create innovative solutions. This has been on for the last 10 years at least. It is not new. It has nothing to do with which government is in power. Digital Commons started with Nandan Nilekani's effort to create a unique ID, which is what we have in terms of Aadhaar. So it is not common. There are enough and more experiments being conducted in this field, which we will talk about some other day.
But I'll have a basic question. See, it's all fine in principle, on paper. It's because, but the general, I'm playing the devil's advocate here, because I'm going by what people complain of. Because how can you trust? I mean, basically, how can you trust a government where it kind of rammed in this Aadhaar bill itself through a money bill? Because that was certainly, I mean, courts have been, I mean, a lot of legal experts are unhappy with it. And in a country like India, how can you trust government with all your details, especially health details? Because what are we going to share in terms of health details? Not just our basic health conditions. We are also going to share our sexual orientation, gender inclination, everything, which are pretty sensitive, and also can be criminal in nature in India. Yeah. So those questions need answering, isn't it, Raj?
Yeah, definitely. See, the most important part is that, see, Bala, you mentioned that, I mean, see, you mentioned one of the advantages of something like this, where, I mean, if your data is available on a cloud, or you are traveling and you have a health issue, you go to any hospital, your previous conditions can be assessed very quickly. So you don't end up getting a drug which is probably, I mean, you are resistant to, or you are allergic to, or blah, blah, blah. All of that thing comes. In addition, I mean, it also connects you with the healthcare facilities. I mean, employee facilities, ESI facilities, for example, stuff like that. So health records are only one part of the digital health mission. But coming to your point, see, I mean, it's very, very important. I mean, you raised a very valid question, because in recent times, what we have seen is, you mentioned Aadhaar. I mean, Aadhaar was not something which the current ruling party brought. It was already there. It was there when the Congress was in power. But the way it was sort of presented and pushed was something which left a lot of people worried. Okay, are we getting into a police state? Again, the same thing got repeated with the farmer bill, where it just suddenly came out of the blue. There was no discussion. It was rammed through in parliament. Right?
Precisely.
Yeah. In this case, you are not even aware. I don't think it has even come to parliament. I mean, I might be wrong. I have not read up enough. So pardon me if I'm wrong here. If you guys have any further information on this, I'll stand to be corrected. But the point is, that does not happen.
So, but Raj, you bring a very important point. It's not about whether it is parliament has been brought. See, they are taking they are creating a UHID without your consent.
Exactly. So the point is, it is being sneaked through.
Exactly.
So that is where the problem is. See, it is, see, the point is that the funny part here is that if you look at the UHID website, it gives you a lot of details. But what it doesn't give you is who's the agency or who's the authority to be creating it. There is no mention of that. So essentially, nobody knows who's creating. But you are getting a UHID.
And, people who actually try to register themselves for UHID on their own volition, they are unable to do it.
Correct. Exactly. So if you go to their if you go to their website, you end up getting a sort of a standard response which says it is available only in some union territories, which is like the Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep, Pondicherry, Ladakh. Ladakh is a UT now. We need to remember. right? So those places, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and those are the places you are getting. Daman and Diu, these places, they say
That's
you
very
can
interesting,
register.
and because those are union territories, which is kind of very
It is
revealing.
under central control. Yes, we need
Exactly,
to
it's
mention
quite,
it. It is under central control.
precisely. That is why I said it is
Yes.
pretty revealing.
So, which basically means the state governments are also not aware of something that is
Aware of
happening.
something.
So, see, look at the way it is coming up. Now, the idea is that, I mean, like I said in earlier also, it's a good idea. It's a, I mean, having a health ID is a good idea because it connects everything related to health. Although people do talk about, I mean, a weird situation where if you want to eat a burger,
I know, I've seen those forwards.
the jokes are there. Or if you go
exactly.
to a pizza house, they'll say, no, you can't take extra cheese because of these reasons. So
Yeah,
get the hell out
your
of here.
BP is high, your cholesterol is high, everything.
So those things might happen. I mean, for all, I mean, there was another joke which was sort of slightly non-veg, where it said that you might even not get a condom if you want one. Your BP is high, you can't.
That's a kind of a dystopian world scenario, but that is not very far off.
Yeah. So I mean, that is there. But then I'm not going that side. See, for me, the problem is that see, the social media, a lot of comments came in the social media, and so if you go and search on Twitter, for example, or even in Facebook, I saw you search for the key UHID, you will see people saying what is this? Some people have even posted it. In fact, one person on Twitter I saw actually posted the UHID of a patient who required care. Right?
Exactly.
Even that came up. So my question is, what is this? I mean, doesn't government owe an answer to us on this? Okay, what is it? When are you doing it? What are you doing?
So quite simply, the government can't be underhand in its dealings. Right?
Yes. So the point is, so if this is the case now, I mean, I have a random thought. How is this happening? Because, like you said, Bala, you brought out that point that I mean, it doesn't. I mean, the UHID website doesn't allow you to register. So where are you registering? The point here is, look at the process of the vaccine. When you go to get a vaccine, what are the details you are sharing? Usually, what are the details you are sharing? You are sharing the name, you are sharing your age or year of birth, you're sharing your gender, you're sharing your mobile number, you're sharing your email, because I mean, for registering on CoWIN, you do need an email. So these are the things you are sharing, and these are the data that government is saying would kickstart your UHID. So you are already giving the data again under the table. You are giving it.
Yeah, basically you are sharing your Aadhaar details when you vaccinate.
Yes, that is the second part. No, you are also sharing your Aadhaar details. So your UHID could get linked directly to your Aadhaar. It probably is already linked to your Aadhaar card. So behind the network, there is a network being created without your consent. Now,
this lack of consent is anywhere is a problem, not just here.
Yes. So this is where the problem is, and where have we gone to get our vaccination? We have not gone to the friendly neighborhood mall, right? We have either gone to a hospital or a nursing home or a community health center or a primary health center. So these are the places where we have gone, and this is where our data has been collected. Yeah, and that data is now being used, or I don't know how it is going to be used, but then, like you said, Bala, the consent factor. I mean, if somebody, see, this is like, I mean, I'm sure you would have seen this. This is like, I think it came in a movie also, if I'm not mistaken. The information you give when you enter a driving on a parking lot of a mall.
Yes.
They give you the information. They give you some sort of I mean, lucky dip form or something like that. Lucky dip form where you fill up your details, and that becomes your information, which they sell to other people.
Exactly.
And this was also, this came in a movie also recently.
Yeah, Operation Java, Malayalam movie.
Yes.
Where people share their information at a mall, and eventually they end up sharing the info, I mean, without them knowing, with some medical practitioners, where everything, I mean, it is linked to I mean, if I remember rightly from the film, it is shared with people who are into this job racket.
So I'll also bring in one more point here, Bala, because I remember in Parliament, I think it was the Surface Transport Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, who actually announced in Parliament that government had shared the data of your driving license and got some 200 crores or something for it. This happened somewhere in April, if I'm not mistaken. I remember reading about it. I mean, it's a very vague memory about a month back. So government had said that. Now, the point is, I'm sure government will not sell the health data. But the point is that because you don't really know who's in charge of collecting the data, how can you be sure where it is going? How can you be sure who is going to use it? How can you be sure that it's not being sold like the parking lot data?
Exactly.
That is the point we have.
Point. See, lack of I mean, you should not do anything without consent. But
Yeah.
I'll again play devil's advocate and bring about a certain point, which with a certain anecdote. See, recently I got tested for COVID with a private institution. It is a private lab. See, the private lab, the moment it was positive, my case was positive, they shared the information with the local corporation officials. So immediately there was a poster put out outside my house, and I was forbid. I mean, I was stopped from going out, which is correct. I mean, I was asked to be quarantined. Everything is fine. Every detail was put out outside my door, and it also kind of helped others to stop interacting with me. But some other neighbor, he also tested with a private lab. The private lab didn't share the information with the corporation. Though he got tested positive, the information was not with the government. The net result, that guy had only asymptomatic, he was only asymptomatic. So he flagrantly went out, causing problem for others. So
Yeah.
sometimes it is good if information is shared with the government. Sometimes it is not good. So these are all two extreme cases. I'm not saying this is going to happen or not going to happen. I'm just sharing an anecdote.
So you're right. See, you're right. See, when I got tested, when I sort of had symptoms, and when I got tested, the person who came to test, Medibuddy or something, I mean, this was done by my son. So that guy told us that, look, we will be sharing your information with the authorities because they need to know. In Bangalore, you don't have that big a thing where, see, earlier last year in Bangalore, it was completely messy, where the moment you tested, they would actually put a fence around you, literally. So it was crazy. I mean, there was a scenario where people used to come and sort of nail this
tin sheets, everything.
Tin sheets on your house.
Same in here in Tamil Nadu, because numbers were less, they could afford to get away with that.
And not just that, it was a scam. We later found out it was a scam. The tin sheet makers were being paid.
That's a different story.
So yeah, so then the government was taken to task, and it was removed. I mean, the Chief Minister Yediyurappa had to actually say, look, I'm sorry, I'm removing this. So they did that. So
because it also led to stigmatization of people.
Exactly. Stigmatization was there. So you're right. See, my point is very simple. Just be upfront. Just be open, saying this is what it is. This is what we are doing. So there is nothing wrong for your data to be shared in a pandemic situation with the authorities, in case they are actually doing the contact tracing and trying to sort of keep others safe. People with whom you would have interacted, even the milkman, for all you know. All the vegetable vendor, they need to do that. But the point is that consent, I mean, for everything we say consent is important, right? I mean, when you are working in an office, yeah, when you are, in a personal relationship, everything consent
within
is
a home. You're right. Personal relationship, exactly.
Within a house, it is important. So my point is, why not here? I think that is the crucial part here. This sneaking technology, which this regime seems to have sort of mastered, is something I'm worried about. I'll put it that way.
That's a good point, because see, technology helps a lot of people, but by the way government is trying to do this, as you said, the sneaking is the way it is doing it, and it brings a bad name to the technology, which otherwise can be put to good use for the welfare of people.
Which is why I brought in the digital commons. We'll discuss digital commons in some other on another show, because it's something very valuable, very important, that is being done by the youth of the country, youngsters who are smart, techies. Maybe we'll even get a guest on the show. And I mean, if I can get that person. I just want to end with this thought, Bala.
But I want to make one before. I mean, you end it. Yes. But just make it to. I mean, just to clarify, we are not scaremongering. We are not against UHID or the National Digital Health Mission or anything. In a sense, we welcome it. All we are against is this underhand or sneaking approach that the government is resorting to. That is the only point.
Yeah, because see, I mean, Bala, I totally agree. Because see, Bala mentioned a case where if your records are available on the cloud, I mean, it could save your life.
And I know certainly a lot of cases that have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a case that happened when I was in college, where my professor, who actually had a particular problem, went for a walk, had a heart attack, went to the hospital, said, look, I have this problem, why don't you do this? They didn't, and he died.
Oh, sorry.
So, I mean, it happened. I mean, he was one of our best professors. So it happened. I mean, I was all of 18 or 19 years old. So I'm talking from that time till now, and things have not moved forward. So if there is an effort to collect the data and store it and make it available in emergencies, I think it makes a lot of sense. That is not the
Exactly.
question. The idea is that you're doing this. If you say, you know what, we are collecting, we are, as part of this, we are going to issue you health IDs, or rather your unique health
That is not
IDs.
happening. That is the
Yeah,
worrying part.
yeah, unique health IDs. And because COVID is happening and each one of you, we expect to take a vaccine, we are hoping that these two things can merge and it makes life easy for us. So behind that scene, let us make that point. Behind that scene, it was smart thinking. But the problem is it's a covert operation.
Yeah, the way
That is the problem.
Your word summed it up: sneaking.
That is it.
Yeah.
Somebody thought was smart, but I mean, did it in a very nasty way. So I'll end with this thought, because government later on, I mean, I think that's just about 2 or 3 days back, they came up with an announcement which was carried in the media. I mean, every media house carried it. I mean, it was an advisory specifically given to all people who had taken the COVID shot. And government asked people not, I repeat, not to post their vaccine certification online on their Facebook and social media and other places. And on the grounds that it would be misused by fraudsters. Now, my point is, who's a fraudster today?
Okay, on the sobering, ironical note, we'll end this, Raj.
Thank you, Bala.
Yeah, I mean, thanks once again for joining us. Raj, you gave a lot of info on the entire National Digital Health Mission and the UHID, and the slightly uncomfortable thought with the way the government is going about. And there are a lot of points to be pondered about. Thanks once again. We'll join you on another show where we have something more pleasant to talk about. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Bala. Thanks, and share and like. Bye-bye.
Bye.